Yeah, this is a very crucial topic. Standard, essential patents for deep tech innovations. So you all might be knowing now the GDP of the country is being run by startups, innovators, and the new technologies, the deep tech innovations are being supported through various government initiatives. One of them is Ministry of Information Technology, Genesis scheme, Tide scheme. So all these are meant for deep tech innovators who are doing very not only the grassroots but also very advanced technologies, and they are actually utilizing it in their innovative products. So whenever we are innovating something through our hard work, patience, and yes, new technologies involvement, it's mandatory to file a patent of it, get it patented, and go for licensing. Normally, whenever we license a product which is a patented one, may belong to hardware sector, mechanical sector, pharmaceutical sector, uh, the licensing sometimes becomes more easy because of lesser complexity, because these are formulations, these are products, processes which are novel. But what about the innovations whenever they need a certain technology that is mandatory for many of the applications, many products? So, just I'm breaking the ice with a very simple example for all of you so that anybody can correlate. Suppose Hyderabad is famous for biryanis. So those biryani have a secret masala or some kind of masala they are adding in their biryanis, and without which biryanis cannot be made. So suppose if somebody is making biryani in UP or Delhi or anywhere in India, they have to follow that recipe. Otherwise, that biryani cannot be made. So if that recipe could be patented by that authentic biryani maker of Hyderabad. So that particular recipe is so important that nobody can make biryani without that recipe. So that recipe maker can license that particular formula of that masala to all the other biryani makers, and it become essential. So if a patent could be taken for that particular composition of spice for making biryani, others have to take the license. And that license must be done by the authentic innovator at a fair, reasonable, and non discriminatory terms. So here we start for standard essential patents. So I think now we can correlate it with the new and technologies. Now I will go upper levels to let you understand everything about the standard essential patents. So, whenever we talk about SEP and we correlate with the deep tech innovation, we can say yes, it is unlocking the future. What are standard essential patents? These are critical, absolutely critical technologies, which are critical to industry standards, without which some device cannot work. Seamless interoperability cannot be achieved, and platforms cannot function without that particular critical technology. But that technology is with some innovator who did it. If suppose it is monopolized, so it becomes just the right of that particular innovator, others cannot make it. Suppose 5G 6G wireless communications, we are all using smartphones, n number of smartphones, all kind of electronic devices that are being run by such kind of technical technologies. So if it is monopolized, how the growth of technology can happen? So all are using that technology, it cannot be done without that. But the chief innovator, the main innovator who has done it, who has patented it, and got declared as standard essential patents by the standard setting organizations, must license it at a fair and reasonable terms. So here the point comes, what are the fair terms, what are the reasonable terms, and how to use it. So Wi-Fi protocols, audio visual compression standards, 5G, 6G wireless communications, MPEG, moving picture export group, or high efficiency video coding. These are such technologies which are essential for running the electronic devices which are being used nowadays. Expanding internet of things system ecosystem, we can say, because there are a lot of things inside that, so that we don't like need to wait or get hanged because of response from central servers. We have the local servers who can respond and send the just the relevant data to central servers. So in this way, some technologies are really helpful. So 85% of mobile communication standards work on standard essential patents, and it provide billions of services to devices. It enabled the connected world uh, through the system, and we are totally dependent on that. So all our communication devices basically function on standard essential patents, and these patents just makes an invisible infrastructure which is very essential for running all our systems. So using something is easy, but we have to think what kind of innovation is behind it and how to actually exploit it for commercialization. How SCP matter in deep tech? It has a seamless integration. It enables the complex technologies like AI, quantum computing, advanced communications to work together effortlessly. It can accelerate the innovation cycles. So whenever something need to be functional, it must use standard essential patents. But suppose if we don't own it, how to use it? If we are using it without taking license from the original innovator may sue us. So we have to pay for it actually if we have to use that. Innovation catalyst is that now suppose if I have to become an original innovator, I have to invent it. I have to make it, I have to apply for patent, I have to get it declared as SCP by the standard setting organizations, and then I can go for licensing of my innovation. So if I'm inventing the foundation element, I can earn lots of revenue, not only in India, but all over the world. So everybody who is an innovator in this sector, either they have to invent or they have to get the license for making their products which are innovative. So it doesn't mean that one who owns the SCP can only be the innovator. All others are innovator who are making newer smartphones, newer electronic devices. But if they need to use the standard essential patents, they must pay the royalties in return to get the license of that. So, for entering the market, once they enter the market and using some standard essential patents of innovator, they must be ensured that they should have the license of using that. Now, the problem comes here with the terms. The innovator now, because it's their own property, standard essential patents, they may take advantage on licensing terms. It may not be fair, may not be reasonable, may be discriminatory, like they can license one known company at a lesser rate, at a higher rate to less known companies, like new startups. If they want to use that technology, they are paying more, and it's never good for a new startup to spend some amount for like taking the license and paying royalties. So yes, it should be access to all the players at a very reasonable term. That is the basic dispute actually. uh, Whenever we talk about who are the organizations which are setting the standards for SAP, so technical standards are established based on uniform engineering criteria which ensure that compatibility. So once a technical standard is made using some technology, it must be compatible with all the devices mostly, because then only other devices can use it. They must have interoperability, reliability must be there, and quality across the product and systems must be maintained. Some of the organizations like ISO, that you all know, International Organization for Standardization, IEEE, Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineer. Important is ETSI, European Telecommunication Standard Institute. That is actually giving lots of like declarations on standards. 3GPP, third generation partnership projects. So these are some organizations on to which the innovator must apply and get it declared as a standard essential patents. Important is that such organizations usually do a critical review and then only can declare it as SEP. Over declarations are normally avoided by the organizations because these are reputed ones, and only those patents which are really essential for working of many devices, all devices, are considered as SEP. Uh, I'm going in a very, very simple language for this. Now, Wi-Fi. We can, so I'm just starting from very earlier ones. So IEEE 802.11 declared Wi-Fi as ACP. So it's a ubiquitous wireless communication technologies that enable devices like smartphones, laptops, all smart that we are using to connect to internet, communicate over the local area networks, and crucial for seamless connectivity and compatibility. So if somebody we all are using, so all systems has this feature, so this need to be licensed by the innovator and at reasonable term to all the product users, product makers. So in this way, it is a SAP. Now, a very simple thing that we might be using since long is Universal Serial Bus (USB). So standard interface which connect the various peripherals to computers, other devices. So from charging phones till using the data transfers, USB technologies relies on standardized protocols, and these are all covered by standard essential patents. Important is that because this technology provides a reliable and uniform data transfer without loopholes, and it was critically reviewed by the standard setting organization and declared as SEP. So mm, all are using, but license must be taken. Another is advanced video coding that is being given by standardized, declared as a standard protocol, MPEG 4 part 10 H2.264. So MPEG 4 part 10 is a video compression standard. So nowadays the video streaming, especially after COVID, there were a lot of innovations took place for the video streaming, online video services, video conferencing. So SAP is covering MPEG 4 part 10 that ensure a very efficient video transmission while they maintain a high quality playback across various platforms and devices. So these are all covered as SCP, and without which no system can work well for video conferencing or any kind of video streaming. So the innovator who has actually done the innovation, patented it, and now licensing all others for using this technology. So, but yeah, again, I'm telling it's about the FAND that is fair and non-discriminatory. I'm giving a brief highlight about the MPEG. So MPEG 1, high quality audio video on CD-ROMs, earlier one, widely recognized for the MP3 audio format. MPEG 2 for digital TV, DVD, HD TV broadcasting. MPEG 4, we call it for a versatile standard for internet streaming. High efficiency video including HEVC, AVC, 7 for content description, indexing, MPEG 21 framework for end-to-end management and delivery of multimedia, and now emerging standard is genomic data compression, MPEG-G. So hepatic and genomic data compression is emerging standards, and also some ongoing works are there on 3D graphics. So suppose if I tell it about this technology, this is a standard essential patents declared by the standard setting organization. Anybody who is using this technology must get the license from the innovator company. And yeah, again, the license must be at reasonable terms. So that is being actually these are kind of legal dispute. Many litigations are going on. One example I'm going to discuss about the Ericsson and Lava case. So actually, lot of damage was imposed by Indian government. It's a very interesting case study. When we talk about the SCP life cycle from innovation to industry standard, first is like for any innovator who has a good technical background in this area, must identify the critical technology, which is essential for working. If it is tested, like yes, it could be operated for multiple devices, it has the reliability, interoperability, they must go for patenting it. Patent it. Then a standard setting organizations must approach to them, get it declared as SEP. Once it is being declared as standard essential patents, must stick to the standard of FRAND. Again, the thing is that. So the terms and conditions must be, because if some company is really honest and doing the licensing at very non-discriminatory terms, they can really rise in market day by day. But if the terms are not good and companies have a dispute in taking the license, paying royalties, the problem comes here. Another thing is monitoring and enforcements. So if some groundbreaking innovations are there, and the thing is that it is globally felt and it can adapt to global standards. So it must cross the path from identification till patenting till declaration and then commitment to FRAND. So yeah, there are a lot of technical, legal, and business considerations here which can maximize the impact and while maintaining the market access. So innovator must take in account this particular fact. So SCP life cycle in deep tech, first, the most and foremost is the research and innovation. So fundamental research. Here it is a fundamental research actually, which lead to breakthrough innovations. It may take some time, but once it is done, it can really change the world. Nowadays, lots of transformation being done since after 2016. You can see a lot of new innovations are coming. Once a innovator becomes sure about it, they must go for patent filing, expedite it, go through the expedited procedures. You know now, every innovator now how to expedite your patent innovation. If you're a startup, no worries. Even if you are an innovator, you must have a female applicant along with you in your team to avail the benefit of expedited examinations. Expedited publication of patent is allowed to everybody. So must leverage the facility by patent office of expedited publication. File it, go for expedited publication, then go for expedited examinations, get it prosecuted, and get it granted. Then the role comes about the SSO contribution. So the standards that are developed are being critically reviewed by the SSO, standard setting organizations that I already told you about, the 3GPP, IEEE. So they declare it as standard essential patents. Once they are included as standard, technology adopted it to draft standards and SCP is declared. Formal declaration is done, is like suppose MPEG technology. This is a SCP. Once it is declared as SCP, the innovator has the rights to use it. If somebody else want to use it, they have to take the license. And yes, that particular company has to pay the royalty to the innovator company. There are a lot of innovator companies. Basically, the Qualcomm actually, who is the major organizer of the event. So they are, I can say, they are the giant leaders in this area. Ericsson, then you can say that your Huawei, then license and enforcement part comes later, where we actually after declaration of SEP, once it is in our hand, suppose somebody is in hand, licensing and enforcement part is important. Here also government intervene if the company do not follow the friend approach. So licensing and enforcement is like the equal terms and conditions must be justified, agreeable to both the parties, must not be discriminatory, unfair. That is here important. Now I'm giving some example of SEP across deep tech domain. Deep tech cannot be just a IT or electronics domain. First is telecommunications, definitely. 4G, 5G, 6G, CDMA, OFDMA, Qualcomm, MIMO technologies from Qualcomm, Ericsson, Nokia. Then IoT and connectivity. So narrow band IoT protocols. These are SEP. Bluetooth LE, Wi-Fi 6, 7 standards under IoT and connectivity background. If we talk about the audio video, I just explained about the MPEG, H.264, H.265, HEVC, high efficiency video coding, VVC codec technologies. So these all audio video kind of technical standards that are coming under the standard essential patents. One important is the AI and edge computing. Edge computing is nowadays the most relevant technology being used in most of the platforms where interface acceleration is there, federated learning, edge AI frameworks are there. So once some innovator is working in this area and can do a lot such kind of innovations, even incremental innovations without which other devices cannot work, or it can add some value to the device, they must go for the standard essential patenting and get it declared. It's important. Blockchain and crypto are also being very common nowadays. So consensus mechanism. So consensus mechanism is being can be governed through this SAP, secure protocols, interoperable systems. We never talk about the medical devices because just now we attended the session of the CEO of the AMTJ, and we really learned a lot about it. So medical devices, we can go for the DCOM imaging, so digital imaging communication. So that is important, especially for when we are using the biosensors for control of emergency diseases, diabetes control, epilepsy control, communication to doctor. All these could be governed by the biosensors, just a kind of watch or something being worn on the wrist, and they can communicate to everybody, and they can even manage the DGs sometimes by the proper simulations. So some EHR systems are there, electronic health records. We can keep you in the medical devices, wireless body networks. So medical devices is a huge field in deep tech innovations, and in MIT especially, Genesis scheme. Even we have funded some medical devices which are biosensors based basically, or decom imaging based. So this is a field actually to explore. Quantum technology, where we go for error correction, quantum key distribution, and networking protocols. So these things are basically being covered under SEP. So anybody who is using these technologies in their device or product must get license from the innovator. They cannot use it directly and can make their product and sell in market. They can even any time be sued by the main innovator. So here, that's why the devices, the making of devices, production little bit become costlier if terms are not properly maintained by the innovator company. So here, the deep tech example, we can say that these are groundbreaking patents on AI algorithms, especially for physics simulation. This is a new field which could be explored. Technology become critical to emerging standards in computational modelings, where a lot of works are being going on. And such new work, such new technologies is attracting investors. Lot of investors are very much interested to fund such innovator because they know that such innovations is not just for time being. They are the future. In future also, for next 10 years they will generate revenues, and there is no limit of that. So this demonstrates how robust SCP strategies can drive the substantial investment from big investors from all across the world. Some of the examples are there which have really invested a lot on the even Indian innovators. So this is the field actually where we fetch investment. Even the device makers are getting lots of investments, but device makers have to pay in royalty to the innovator, so there is a kind of expense attached to it. Telecommunication giants and SCP powerhouses, I wish to again quote the Qualcomm, which hold thousands of critical 4G, 5G SCPs, enabling the mobile device connectivity worldwide. And licensing revenues exceeds billions annually. So a company who is holding so many SCPs can generate billions uh, per year. That is the way actually the revenue generation stream works. Ericsson is also a pioneer in mobile communication standards. They have a good SCP portfolio, and they are working globally. They are providing global network infrastructure. They providing such services to all devices. Interoperability of the devices are being established, and that's why they could be considered also as the leaders. Now the point comes about the Huawei. So Huawei is a massive 5G SEP portfolio driving, which is a Chinese company, and they are really providing the next gen connectivity to innovators. So in telecommunication, China is also considered as a leader globally because of this company, which is have a good SEP portfolio. So why? Because these companies are growing by leaps and bounds because there are a lot of R&D investments from all across the world to them. They are fueling breakthrough innovations like 6G wireless and massive IoT expansion that will define the next decade of connectivity. So, not these companies, many even startup companies have started working on such kind of technologies. They are doing research and development. In next 10 years, some results may come out. So, because in MIT we came across a lot of innovators working on IoT and AI technology, which could be considered later in few years as standard essential patents. SEP challenges is a major challenge because of licensing dispute. Once I have technology and I have done a lot of hard work, sometimes mindset is not to give at a lesser cost. We block the product launch, sometimes we disrupt the supply chain. Why? Because of litigations it occurs that innovators sometimes want to monopolize it, and at their own terms they want to license. That's the problem. Sometimes there is over declaration. Some technologies are just mere beneficial, but they are declared as standard essential patents, and other device manufacturing manufacturers are really suffering over it because their products are becoming costlier and costlier because of paying the royalties. Regulatory solutions are there, the patent courts are there. Europe, especially, is intervening much on that because they have also standard setting organizations. So they are working to harmonize the SCP disputes so that transparency could be increased and also clear friend guideline could be established. Uh, Very earlier one, that is the Apple Digital Assistant patent, Shiri, that we might be using since long. So these groundbreaking patents normally have a dialogue statement for natural, uninterrupted interaction with digital assistants, eliminating any awkward pauses between commands. And these were very efficient in Apple. So, voice activated AI assistant integrated into smartphones, smart speakers, automotive systems, countless IoT devices, even automated vehicles. So, these SAP underpin everyday deep tech innovations and fundamentally shaping the user experience. The European patent number is also there, you can Google it out. And I can say this was a groundbreaking innovation from Apple long back. It's a very interesting case study whenever we want to discuss about the Ericsson versus Lava SEP case. What happened exactly? It's a major legal battle. At the core, it's a 9-year legal dispute between Ericsson and Lava. Ericsson is what? It's a Swedish telecom giant, owns many patents and standard essential patents to mobile standards such as 2G and 3G earlier. Lava International, it's an Indian smartphone maker that sold phones implementing those standards. They were making the smartphones and they were working on the 2G, 3G standards that time. Ericsson, which was a Swedish telecom company, sued Lava and said that technology covered by its ACP is being used by Lava without taking a license on fair terms. And Ericsson didn't offer fair licensing. Problem was that Ericsson didn't offer fair licensing, and some patents were not valid as said by Lava. So Lava said that I asked for licensing, but Ericsson is charging exorbitantly, and some patents are also not valid. They don't fall in category of standard essential patents. That Lava said in defense. What happened? There are two basic concepts that we understand. Standard essential patents. First, we understand these are patents which are must be used to implement a technical standard like 2G, 3G, which are set by global bodies like ETSI. ETSI has set that standard. Anyone making a phone has to use that technology by default. FRAND is what? FRAND is fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory terms. So when a company owns SEP, it must offer license on terms that are fair, reasonable, and non-discriminatory to everyone. everyone, which can access the technology without being unfairly charged. That is a rule set by the government. But how it is being followed, that need to be critically reviewed. What happened in the case is Ericsson sued Lava in 2015. Ericsson filed a lawsuit in Delhi High Court because they have a patent in India. It was a Swedish company, but they had a patent, standard essential patents, and they were globally. And in Delhi High Court, they sued Lava, saying Lava was infringing and SCPs related to key mobile tech such as adaptive multi-text speech codec and Edge. These two technologies were being used in Lava phones, and Lava were selling the phones using those technologies covered by the patents of Ericsson without a license. Lava fought back. Lava said some patents that Ericsson is claiming are invalid. They are just innovations, not standard essential patents. Ericsson didn't offer proper FRAND terms. They were charging exorbitantly and again argued that it didn't need a license because supplier of Lava's device had license already. They said that. But what happened? Lot of arguments took place till 9 years. But Delhi High Court found that most of the Ericsson patents, 7 of 8, were valid and also essentials, means standard essential patents. Technologies were really patented, cannot be used as such by anybody. Lava has infringed them because their phones were complied with the mobile standards that under those covered patents. Lava also didn't negotiate in good faith, made excuses instead of engaging in real license talks. Means they didn't go in the proper licensing terms, they didn't sit together, they didn't talk about it, and it was showing that unwillingness to license it. So the court favored the Ericsson and said Lava to pay 244 crores, 29 million US dollar in damage. So this much large amount was paid by Lava as a damage to Ericsson. So that is the case. Actually, the violation of licensing terms, violation of uses without licensing took place, and yes, the importance of standard essential patents because Ericsson was ruling the world because of that technology was with them. Nobody else can use. So how to beat it is like to Indian innovators must go for more and more technology development, more and more patenting, and yes, go through the proper legal process, get it declared at standard essential patents, and yes, even a small startup company can generate millions and billions per year. That's the way. Future is basically AI and machine learning. Lots of AI standards are relying on standard essential patents, data exchange protocols, machine learnings equally, quantum technologies, computing standards, creating new SCP technologies, basically in cryptography and processing. So, if somebody has some research background in this, they must explore the possibility of having a patent in this area. Biotechnology I wish to mention because there is a particular area that is genetic sequence and genetic sequencing, basically gene sequence and medical devices. These two things are actually a little bit unexplored because of complexity. So genetic sequencing and medical devices, basically biosensors based, IoT, AI and machine learning based, that are really is the future of the medical device. So technical fusion must be done between the biotechnology, medical, all kind of even agri-tech, because they are frugal innovations nowadays in India. Why not to make it a technical one? And for that, really standard essential patents become a area of exploration. So SCP system are crucial for promoting innovation, fair competition, we can say, and yes, global technology diffusion in all the emerging areas. But again, the point comes about the FRAND that I'm discussing again and again. It's the FRAND is a kind of legal framework which prevent the exploitation of standard adopters who have no alternative technology choice. I cannot make a phone. So how I can pay so much and then start production? Why not a reasonable term could be set? Technical contribution, yes, I agree, innovator has. but they must not impose any means like exorbitant price on the device makers or phone makers, because then technology will be unaffordable to the people of India. That we need to consider. And yes, government is very much focused on this particular approach. Non-discriminatory should be there. Similarly, positioned licensee across markets. All licensee must get the license at equal terms without discrimination. So that's the way actually the rules are being governed. But there are lots of challenges. Current challenges is basically the complex litigation, essentiality, cross-border enforcement. That is also the point where we have to send it to cross-border, get license there. Regulatory responses are there where there are a lot of competitive law actions are there, but future landscape is good. That is AI, quantum, SEP, startup, global harmonization, all these are there. Yes, initially there are some kind of obstacles, but yes, this is the future. So standard essential patents are foundations to deep tech innovations. Every deep tech innovator must think of standard essential patents. Never think that I'm quantum computing, I'm IoT and AI, how to get the patents. That's the SEP. Once you make a career in SAP, in R&D, IP management, this is the future of the world where actually you can govern not the India but can govern the whole global market. So deep tech innovation is balancing patent protection with open standards. Yes, competitive advantages are good, but yes, collaboration is also good. I'm not inventing for monopolizing. I am inventing for giving the services, giving the technologies to other mobile phone makers, other device makers, so that it could be produced at large. It should be affordable to people of India at least cost, and it can generate employment for the people of India. Because if more and more companies are producing, GDP is increasing, lots of wealth generation, lots of employment generation. So it should be for the betterment that it should be kept, and that's why it's the we can say that SEP is a cornerstone of deep tech process, because it protects the foundational innovator first of all, who are doing the basic research, who are making the scalable technologies, and this could be operable throughout the world. That is important. Economic, they attract substantial investment, because once they develop it and licensing to others, definitely there is a lot of growth opportunities, many investors, because there is ROI would be very high, EBITDA would be high, and that's why it's the way actually the generation of revenue and enhancement of GDP can take place. So acceleration of global standard adoption is the need of hour, and if Indian innovators can do it, definitely and it can definitely it is declared after matching the global standards, the like compatibility. So yes, they can even business worldwide. So strategic thing is that it's absolutely essential for navigating the ACP portfolio. Like once a new kind of technology is being developed, they must penetrate the ACP part. They must make the tomorrow's technology landscape. There are policymakers who take care. The FRAND terms are there, the SSOs are there, but all are really helping. So I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you so much.
How can standard setting remain inclusive when deep tech innovation is increasingly capital and in patent intensive?
Yes, okay. Whenever such kind of technical innovations are being done, and they are declared as standards for all kind of devices because of compatibility, interoperability, then they can license to any other company. So that's why that deep tech innovation is liable to be patented. They can generate lots of capital. Thing is that other companies who are using that technology must pay in royalty. It's a kind of win-win situation for both of them. Yes, the innovators are inventing, they are like giving license on frank terms. Other kind of device maker, producers, we can say, these are also innovators who are making good mobile phones, compatible ones, using their technology and getting it at licensing terms, paying royalties. but they are also generating lots of revenue because of their devices has that technology, and because of that they are producing even the novel devices. What I can say, there is a good software. Unless until it is being converted into a hardware, uh, could be used as an application, it is no use to the like anybody, consumers. So that's why I can say that this is a win-win situation if licensing terms are perfect and both are working in coherence. So definitely it's a win-win situation for everybody, for innovators as well as for users. But patent is essential. Patent must be done, declared as SEP. Then only licensing could be talked about.
So, ma'am, what about 6G patents from India? Is there any uh, company that has some 6G patents, or are they part of any standard setting organization?
Yeah, there are examples on the patent offices, especially international patents. They are in the process. Yes, they have. So I can give you some examples exactly in Indian companies or India, because in Indian companies are also working over it, but
Hmm.
other foreign companies have lots of patents in India. That's the way actually.
Hmm. Hmm, hmm.
So, but yeah, they are working. You know, the Bharat 6G mission. Indian government is very much like focusing on this 6G. So Bharat 6G mission is focusing on developing the sovereign, affordable, and secure next gen technology, which are expected to contribute. But it may take about 5-6 years to totally get.
Hmm.
But we can say about the global 6G patents, about 10% of the global 6G patents are being done by the Indian companies. So, as we can say, among India, it could be emerging at top 6 nations, which are emerging globally in 6G patent filings. In 2025, nearly 200 patents are being filed by India. Aim is that 10% of global patents would be filed by 2030. So yes, and there are a lot of initiative. About 300 crores, nearly 35 million dollar, are being invested on these kind of initiatives. So Department of Telecommunication is very like, because they have launched the Bharat 6G mission. So there are a lot of supports to startups. There are a lot of supports to Indian companies for this
Hmm.
purpose.